Hello, class, and congratulations. You've made it to the end of the semester. Last week you got started and hopefully have gotten close to finishing or perhaps even completed your final Photoshop assignment. And in fact, this week being finals week, we're going to need you to wrap that up. It is due soon, so check the due date on that. And then once you've completed it, I'm going to need you to actually do one more thing with it after you've, of course, submitted it to the final assignment section. Now, before we get into that, I was just looking over all of the videos that this entire class had to go through. So I wanted to say congratulations. You made it through around 275 videos and it was over 60 hours of content. That's not including all of the recommended videos that I posted over the semester. So once you've gone through all of these, give yourself a pat on the back. That's amazing. That is so much work. I, of course, will be leaving the videos up on YouTube. So if you ever want to go back to them, as long as YouTube doesn't do something strange and take them down, they'll be available for you as a reference. Do whatever you need with them. I'm perfectly fine with it. Now, that said, let's go ahead and get into what you're doing for finals week. Essentially, you have one last assignment. You've completed everything really you need to do in Photoshop. I do have Photoshop open, though. There's one thing we might need to do. So you should have basically 5 files that you created. You're going to have your old CMYK poster and your RGB poster. You're also going to have your program cover, both in black and white and in color. And I forgot about this. You're also going to have your black and white poster. So amongst these, you probably have a favorite. You may have decided that your poster and program cover look better in a particular color or in black and white or what have you. So what I'm going to have you do this time is pick which ones you like best. In my case, I think I like the RGB poster, and I think it worked better with the CMYK program cover, the one in color. So I'm going to grab both of these. And since I'm on a PC, I can hold down the control key and click so that I can highlight them both, even though they're not contiguous, they're not together. I'm going to copy these, and I'm going to just go to a place where I can make a new copy. I'm just going to paste them here. That way I leave the originals alone. I don't want to destroy those. All right. Now that I've got these, it's time to take a look at what I'm going to be doing. I've got the assignment open on a second screen here. At long last, your final assignment. You're going to be posting this to week 16, the final discussion here. The name may change as I do my final edits. I'm assuming you're already here if you're watching this video, but I suppose it's possible that you got here through YouTube. So what you're going to want to do is actually go over to discussions and let it load. Here we go. I'm just going to put this right up here where we can get to it in order. So you've got all of your lectures, and then it will end with week 16, just final. We're doing a peer critique. This is kind of like a peer review, but easier. So we've got our congratulations here as well. I really do appreciate all the hard work you've all gone through. It's amazing to me. I have Neil Gaiman's commencement speech for the arts class of 2012. I cannot recommend highly enough that you watch this. I show it to my class every semester, and since you're all in my class, guess what? I'm showing this to you as well. It's about 20 minutes long, not a big deal. You're going to go ahead and roll in. So we've got one last assignment, and we've got the video to go with it, which is the one that I'm recording right now, so you'll see a blank space. Essentially, you're going to reply to this post right here, and you're going to put in some material. And what is that material? It's going to be a small version of these two guys. Now, why is it small? They're already only like 100. They're less than 2 megabytes. Why do we need it any smaller? Well, the reason is for screen size. If you just pop this thing in, it's going to be too big to really fit anywhere. So I'm going to move my poster here to Photoshop. Wake up, Photoshop. And I'm just going to go to image size. Actually, before I set up the image size on it, I do want to show you though. You can see that we've got a width and a height, and this may be horizontally aligned for some of you, and that's fine. it's a little big to be displayed on most computer monitors, iPads, tablets, that kind of stuff. So we're going to shrink it down a bit. Now, that said, before we shrink it down, we need to make sure that everything's in RGB mode. This one, of course, is. So it's we don't have to worry about it. But you'll notice that because I picked the RGB one, this one is in CMYK. So I'm just going to go to Image. Sorry, I always do that. I'm going to go to Edit, Convert to Profile. I'm going to toss it into the sRGB space, which should be big enough for your colors, but go ahead and play around and make sure that you don't pick something that will ruin everything. If it is in CMYK, tell it OK. Voila, looks pretty good. Any adjustments you need to do, now's the time to do it. Now we've got both of these, right? So it's time to shrink them down. We'll start with the poster. And all we have to do for this is go to Image, Image Size. And we're going to keep this pixels so we can see what's happening. Knock this down to 72 pixels per inch. Now, in doing that, it actually makes it smaller than we really want it to go. You saw before we had like 1,200 some. This is going to be too small for people to really see everything. So what I want you to do before you press OK, after you've knocked it down to 72, go ahead and set the width to 1080. Now that will make the height 1398. And you'll notice if you have a horizontal image, it's going to shrink things down a bit more. In fact, it would have the width, well, the height would only be 835, but that's okay. That's just how we're going to roll with it. It will be all right to view. Really, it's the width that we're concerned about, so we don't end up with everything flying off the edge. So, regardless if you're horizontal or vertical, set your width to 1080. Before you do that, set your resolution to 72. So resolution 72, width 1080. Don't forget you can choose automatic, so that it will try to figure out what you're doing, but you also have under resample, preserve details for reduction with bicubic sharpening. You may need that if it doesn't realize that you do. So take a look and figure out which one works best for you just by playing around with them. Once you're done, tell it okay. Huzzah, we've got it. And notice that it's a decent size. And if you have a horizontal image, it's going to be pretty short, probably about that tall, but will still be good enough for us to see in this situation. Now we're going to save this, and I'm going to go File, Save As, and this time we're going to call it Breaking with Tradition. It'll be your last name, in that case, and your first name. And then I will be Final Poster Display. And that's it. It will be a JPEG. So we'll go ahead and save it. I'm going to leave it at maximum quality here and save that thing out. Voila. Now this is more something that we'd email to people, but we're going to post this because it's pretty small at this point, but we're going to post it. This should be sufficient for us. Next step, we're going to come on over to our cover. I've already converted it to RGB, and that's the first thing you're going to want to do so that it will show up correctly on all of the screens. We're going to go to Image, Image Size. We're going to drop that resolution down to 72. But you notice that I reset that. Holding down the Alt key on your keyboard will allow you to access the reset. That's Option on Macintosh. Notice that it's already a pretty small width. So here's how we're going to do it. Once we have it down to 72, we're going to make our width just 800. And again, make sure you shrink it down first, and then we're just going to set it to 800 there. Tell it okay. Here we go. So now we've got another one. Time to save this one as well. I'm going to go File, Save As. And this one will be Final. It'll be your last name, first name, Final Cover Display. And what's my last name? Same as it's been all semester. Greenberg. And what's my first name? Same as all semester. There we go, Eric. All right, so now we've got these two files ready to be posted. So now it's time to post them, which means we're going to come on over. You'll go down to the discussions, and you'll go to the week 16 discussion. and you're going to want to reply. Now, there will be other students' posts here. You'll reply to those in a minute. For your own post, make sure you reply to this big thing that I have up here. Don't reply to a student's post yet. That's in a minute. Hit reply. You'll get a little dialogue where you can put things in, including the embed image icon up here. If you're having problems, I recommend using Google Chrome. That will sort out a lot of issues. Canvas seems to be built almost with Google Chrome in mind. If you need help with that, there are a few sources. You can contact the MJC Technology Help Desk. They'll work with you to get all that up and running. Otherwise, you can email me and I will try to communicate through email. But as you've all seen, it can take me like 6 to 8 hours to get back to some of your emails, sometimes as long as 20 hours. So me walking you through that's not going to be a good use of your time. You're going to want to just try to get this posted. You've got all those helplines. You can go out, but do let me know if you're having problems so I can, adjust my expectations. Now that said, this icon up here says embed image. Click that. You're not going to be using a URL or Flickr. You're going to go to Canvas and you're going to pick a folder you can upload to. Now I've already created a week 16 folder, so I'm good to go there. If you want to stay more organized, there's a way to do that and I'll show you in just a second. But right now I'm just going to tell it upload file and it's just taking me to some random location. So I'm going to come back to where I need to be, get that path, or you can navigate to it however you want to. That's perfectly fine as well. I just don't want to waste your time, so I'm just going to pop on over. Here we go. And we have the poster for display, and we have the cover for display. So I'm going to grab the poster first. I'm going to wait for it to do its upload thing. And this could take a second, so I'm actually going to skip ahead if it takes too long. Looks like it's okay. I'm going to upload file, and I'm going to do the cover as well. And it will grab that and will list the dimensions, ratio will be preserved, all that good stuff. These are within the canvas size ratio, the canvas size, so it should be fine. All right, and we will tell it update. And we've got one of them, but I uploaded both of them, so I need to actually include them both. Since I tried to do it in one go, I have to go back, go to embed image. At least I don't have to upload it this time. I'm going to pop over to where I saved it. In this case, I made this folder. Grab the poster. Tell it update. All right, let's take a closer look at this. So before I even start writing on this, I'm paranoid about this stuff. So I'm going to do this in 2 passes. I'm going to press post reply just so that I know that everything's come in. And now I'm going to edit this so that I can actually add in all the text that I need. And that's just this 3-dot and edit. If you're not comfortable with that, you can do everything in one go. I'm fine with that. Don't worry. I don't care how you get to this point. You just need to get to this point. That said, if you do want to have some nice folders to stash these in inside Canvas, you do that by going to your files. And then you go to whichever place seems most appropriate. In my case, I've got the class for this, the 2019, which is where I'm going to be stashing it. And you have a plus folder icon. I made this a little big, so whoops. Now it's a little small. And now it doesn't want to resize. Welcome to the land of computers. And now it's back to exactly as big, if not bigger than before. Here we go. Golly. Okay. So all I'm going to do is press this plus folder icon. That lets me make a folder, and I can name this whatever. And I can load my files into it. And I can do that either here. Once I'm in here, I can upload my files that way, in which case they're available and ready to go before I post, or you can do it the way that I just showed you. It doesn't matter. Again, just whichever way you prefer. Now, I don't want this folder clogging stuff up, so I'm going to go ahead and delete it, and you don't have to worry about that either. Okay, so let's go ahead and go back to our discussions. And pop back over, because like I said, this isn't done and I need to finish this up. So I'm going to edit it. And now I'm going to fulfill the next part of this assignment. I'm also going to close these tabs so I don't get confused. I don't know why I have those open. That's unrelated. Okay, let's go ahead and fulfill the next part of this assignment. And we need to type up a few things. Well, what we need to say specifically... Let me get this part open. Write a quick paragraph about the event and why you chose it, and any surprises you encountered while creating it. So to give you an example, here's a quick paragraph about why I chose it and any surprises I encountered while creating it, and also what the event is. So this is a poster for the Modesto Junior College Electronic Music Concert, an event that occurs once a semester to showcase second semester electronic music students' latest work. This event is a blast to attend, and I try to go to one every semester. Simply enough, I chose it because I love electronic music. One surprise I encountered was on the program cover. I didn't realize that the colors I selected were too bright for the background. That should be too bright, as in too many. Too bright for the background when it was reduced to black and white. In the future, I will be more mindful of color selections. All right, great. So I'm just going to copy that, and let's toss this. Let's toss this in and tell it done. And now we have, voila, everything we need for this part of the assignment. Now, there are a couple of other things we need to do, though. We need to find another student's work and talk about it. We need to post something we think worked well, something we think did not work well, and a suggestion as to how to fix it. So don't point out something that you think didn't work well if you can't think of a solution. That's not going to help anybody. That's not a critique, that's a criticism. A critique is to actually help things go in a direction. So you'd say things like, I see you used a lot of blue and a little bit of red. To me, the blue and the red don't balance very well because there's not enough red. If you used more red in the other corner, maybe about a square centimeter of it, then voila, I think it would balance out well. That's fine. You can't say, I see you used a lot of blue and red. I hate those colors. That doesn't help anything. You have to point it out. And if you can't point out a way to fix it, and it can't be something like, I just don't like that. But you could say, if I were the target audience, I would not find this appealing because... You can't just leave it, no, I don't like it. You have to say what the reasoning is behind it. That's what makes it a critique.